Pest Startup 101 podcast. Thank you for checking out our podcast. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. This podcast, it has to deal with everything pest related, pest control related. So this is, we address topics for technicians, managers, owners, and everyone in between. So in this episode is going to be a quick little story time of how to deal with cheap property managers. So we had a cheap property manager who agreed to sign up with us, give us 15 properties. He said he had 31, 34, and anyone that's been in the business knows that sometimes managers, what they want to do is they want to fill you out, so they fill you out with maybe one property, the one that gives them the most headache, and they want to try someone new and see if we can deal with it and see how it works, and then the following month, then they give you some more. So this guy wants to start off with 15. So he had a property manager, a secretary, sorry. The owner had a secretary in the property management office, and she set everything up with us. A month later, she quits. So there goes problem number one. Problem number two, he never hires anyone else. The owner wants to be his own property manager. He's still, still his company, a property management company is his. And he drops us down from 15 to 8. So this is only after 2 services. So he had the superintendent. So in the city, in New York City, sometimes people put up a signature sheet where we would place a sheet by the mailbox and tenants would sign. It would have the date and the time window for the next service visit, and the tenants could sign. Usually the monthly service is on the same day of every month, so it'd be the first Monday of the month or first Thursday of the month or something like that, and it would be the same time frame. So it'd be between 8 and 12, 8 and 10 sometimes, 2-hour windows sometimes. So this guy, he wanted to pay the lowest amount and have us knocking on doors, which would require servicing a lot more units, and so it'd be less profit for us. But we said, okay, we're going to do it because eventually we'll just go on a signature sheet, or we'll know which tenants are the ones that really need the service, and we'll work something out with the super and we'll get everything done. And the landlord gets free follow-up. So if a tenant's not home, they can call him, he calls us, and then we go and do the follow-up treatment. So he comes to us, he drops the amount of buildings we get, then he drops it some more. So he goes from 15 to 8. Then he went down for 1 month, he went to 4. He went back up to 11. Now, right when we're going to cancel him, because this is one trick that these landlords like to do, is that they like to complain and threaten to cancel on you. Don't fall for this crap. So what they do is they tell you, hey, we're not really feeling the service. We'll try you guys out for 1 more month. But if it doesn't work out, we could just go our separate ways. And they're just testing you out so you can use something stronger to get rid of the bugs. Now, sometimes this is the case because they want you to do the service and they want you to use extra strong chemicals, and then they cancel on you and they don't take service for another 3 to 6 months. Then they call you back and try to get you to sign back up with you. So what you do then is, it depends how you are financially, but you call them on their bluff. You say, hey, we've been doing the service without any issues for all these months. And listen, if you're not happy, we just end it right now because you're taking up space in our time slot. And if it's a Saturday service, you can definitely refill a Saturday service, especially when it's back to school time. A lot of the residential services, they want service on the weekends. They prefer service during the week when maybe if there's a nanny or someone there to take care, to walk you through the house. But in the weekend, guarantee that they're home and you'll get more stops that day, So tell them, hey, we can cancel it right here. And then sometimes they'll back out. Sometimes they'll say, okay. And then they'll call you a month later to try to sign back up with you. It depends. Because the service that they want to pay is so cheap, and the amount of service that they want, the quality of service that they want is so high that other companies aren't going to match that if you're good at finagling your way around. See, so we did it for a cheaper rate. We didn't go super, super cheap. We did it for a cheaper rate, but our technicians mainly used B&G, rarely used gel. If there was a heavy roach infestation, we'd use gel. But if it's just a maintenance treatment, we're just using the B&G and 2 glue boards per apartment that opens. We're not leaving glue boards for tenants. We're not leaving the super with a ton of extra glue boards that he's just going to put up on top of the boiler or the top of the water heater and it stays there for 6 months. No. We are very minimal with our stuff, with our supplies. We do not drop bait behind the appliances if it is not needed. And if we do, you're supposed to put that in mice bait boxes and you're supposed to charge the landlord. We charge $8 per box for the little tiny boxes, the little mice boxes, or we charge $25-$30 for the rat box. But it's up to you what you guys want to do. But this is a story about landlords. So let's get back to that. The best way to deal with a cheap landlord is to explain to him how much you charge for servicing one apartment or one single family home that calls you for roaches. And then telling him, I'm doing your property for that same price, which has multiple units. So you could cancel with us now, not have an exterminator. Then 3 months from now, one of your tenants calls the city on you. You have to pay $300 for that apartment to be serviced. Then another apartment finds out you have to service another apartment before you sign a contract. By the time you sign a contract, you've already serviced 3-4 units, and you've paid the year's worth of pest control services that you could have paid if you would have just stayed on. You have to tell them to ignore that number, to ignore the amount of signatures that sign up, to ignore the bill, because they have to just write that off as an expense of owning a building. Because if they don't have pest control regularly serviced their property, then the bugs are just going to multiply. And they can just start off in one unit. They can cancel service and you have one bad tenant. When you go back 3 months later, when he calls you back, he's calling you back for a reason. He's calling you back because people started complaining, because it started to spread. And then you get there and there's 5-6 units that have the problem. And it's surrounded by that one unit. And when that one unit moves out with the heavy infestation, where do you think those bugs are going to go? They're going to go start feeding in the neighbor's house. Especially when that guy or the girl, whoever leaves that apartment, if they leave all their furniture, if they get evicted, then the super is dragging that stuff out of there. And all the roaches are just falling in the hallway, in the lobby, and it's just spreading everywhere. That's when you get that call. And remember this. Yesterday's price is not today's price. This is when you jack it up. You tell him take it or leave it. You tell him you were taking care of the problem. You explain to him the benefits of going with you. You were taking care of the problem before and he canceled. Now you have to sign a contract. Now you have to put a check, a voided check on file. So if you use Square for credit card processing, they accept checks now. So you can put a voided check on there and you hit them with a fee if they cancel. You tell them you're in for 12 months. If you cancel, here's the fee. Now, if you're dealing with a landlord, they don't like giving any of their information. They won't give a checking account. They won't give you a credit card. They like to get billed and they pay whenever they want. If you deal with a property manager, then it's a little bit more lenient. You might not get a check. You might get a credit card if you give them a discount. It depends. But you can work something out. Best way is to get the whole year up front, just give them a discount, and then they never have to deal about a bill. The only time they get billed is if you treat for any added services, if you add boxes, if you treat for bed bugs, if you bomb for fleas, stuff like that. But remember this, yesterday's price is not today's price. So jack up that price if they cancel on you. You don't forget. So thanks for listening. This was a quick one. This is just a little motivation talking about property managers. We had a property manager now do this to us from 15 to 8 to 4, back to 11, and then threatening to cancel. Hey, you want to cancel? Go. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Your Saturday service at a discounted rate anyway. You can go. We'll figure it out. It's going to hurt for a month or two. You start banking on that money. But listen, that guy is blocking you. That cheap service is blocking you from another service you could be doing and making more money. So instead of doing 8 buildings that day, you could do 3 apartments and make that same amount of money. Okay? All right. Have a great week. Make some money. Hit the streets, technicians. If you get paid commission for sales, try to get some sales. Try to knock on the neighbor's door. I mean, I don't like doing that stuff, but figure out your way to make some extra money. All right. Pest Startup 101.